What do you think, Janusz?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I can't disagree with all those names. I think there's some key players that have been mentioned, and without them, I don't think we see Manchester United as we do right now. But for me, by far, the most important player in this team is Bruno Fernandes. Look, I mean, for me, he's been as good a signing as anyone in the history of Manchester United. I really truly mean it, and some big names. I know I'm going on the ledge here with that statement because there's so many great players in the history of Manchester United. But if you look at what Bruno has done, and by the way, Bruno's been doing this consistently, even when United were terrible in the last couple of seasons. He was the one player that's always kind of drove this team as well, and even at their worst, he was clearly one of those players that was best on the pitch as well. So we saw obviously the setup today, and I think on the first goal with the outside of his foot, and then the tiki taka with Sancho. I just think that he's such a consistent player, such a leader on this team, and I don't remember him playing bad games. I mean, even if he's not at his best, there's always one or two or three things that he does, even defensively, because I don't think we give him credit for that as well. Because in terms of recovery of the balls, he's probably up there. I didn't look at those statistics, but I have to imagine that he is. So that one, and I think it's been mentioned by Rob as well, De Gea. Because how many times have we sacked De Gea, right? And we have this funny thing with goalkeepers. We tend to write off the best in the world. I even remember, Jan Oblak at Atleti, when he was the best in the world, had a bad season last year. Even Manuel Neuer's been bad in his career as well. And you can probably go on with Casillas and everybody else. Once you're a great goalkeeper, chances are that you're going to stay a great goalkeeper. It may take you a season because that happens to everybody, but it's such a fragile position. And the reason, of course, we're talking about De Gea that early on, I mean, he made two stops, I think, on Harvey Barnes and Iheanacho that were absolutely incredible. I mean, one or both go in, and who knows where this game would wind up. But it's a fragile position because if you make a mistake, of course, unlike a field player, chances are, most likely than not, nobody can save you.
Yeah, it's obviously so important, as you just mentioned, Janusz, in the first half. David de Gea today, Rob, and also a special day for him in that he equalled Peter Schmeichel's 180 clean sheet record. How do you rate him since he joined the club, de Gea?
I mean, I think he's probably been Man United's most important player of the last decade. We talked about some great players just then. Marcus Rashford and Casemiro and players. Obviously United have signed and had great players play for them the last decade. But if you take the last decade as a whole, De Gea is by far the most important player that United have had. And as mentioned there, they've had some very lean seasons and very poor seasons. If it hadn't been for David de Gea in some of those seasons, it would have been even worse. He has performed consistently. Barring a little bit of a shaky spell when he first joined in 2011, he's performed consistently all the way through his Man United career. I think he's won the club's Player of the Year award 4 or 5 times, and that just shows you how important he's been. We spoke to him in the summer actually when we were on tour, and he said that he doesn't want to win the club's Player of the Year award anymore because it means that United have had a bad season. He's had too many shots to face and too many saves to make. He doesn't want to be sort of mentioned in those terms anymore because he wants to win trophies. And when your goalkeeper is busy, the team isn't usually winning games and winning trophies. But if you take the last decade as a single entity to look at, he's been absolutely fantastic for United. He's been by far United's most important player, most impressive player since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013.
Just talking about players as well today, obviously it's a player that's much more new when it comes to United. But Jadon Sancho today, Janusz, what did you make of him? Good to see him on the score sheet again?
Yeah, good in different position. That brings us nicely to the whole idea of halftime and Ten Hag again, right? Because he's making players better. And Jadon Sancho, we knew it's been a slow start from his days in Bundesliga, but that's Ten Hag for you. So the adjustments that were needed, we've mentioned Rashford, and I think to a degree we were surprised. But here's Ten Hag again, flexible and very intelligent. I think, putting Sancho inside, allow obviously Rashford to go wide and use the space a little bit. All of that was probably made also because if you remember in the first half, I think Tete and Castagne were incredible. I mean, Luke Shaw and in particular Garnacho struggled with them. I mean, Tete had the run of the place. And so I think decision was made that maybe maybe Jadon Sancho, probably defensively. I'm not saying that he's bad, that, you know, but he's not great. Rashford would have been better for that. And again, everything worked perfectly for him. So here's Jadon Sancho playing in a position that, of course, he plays, but not often, taking full advantage of that, coming off the bench. And in the second half, it was just one-way traffic. You look at Tete and Castagne, non-existent. And Jadon Sancho also, obviously, scoring a great goal through a great build-up that started with Lisandro Martinez winning that tackle in the midfield. So, I mean, firing on all cylinders. And it's good, because I think we've been waiting for that from Jadon Sancho, haven't we?
Yeah, it is good. Even when Ten Hag was asked afterwards about Rashford, he did highlight some of those players that as he's saying, are also helping Rashford and helping the team. And he did pick Jadon Sancho out. So, Rob, it's a massive week ahead. How does Ten Hag manage this right? And how does he prioritise it? They've got that Europa League second leg with Barcelona. That first game we all saw, it was brilliant. And then there's the Carabao Cup final.
I think he just picks his strongest team for Barcelona on Thursday because it's the next game. I mean, it's a perfectly valid question. And actually, we asked Ten Hag in Barcelona about how he's going to navigate these two games with Barcelona, plus the game against Leicester today and the Carabao Cup final. Half of us actually expect him to say, well, you know, we may prioritise the league and the Carabao Cup and maybe make changes for the Europa League, because Europa League at the moment, the way the season is going, is not as important as it perhaps was at the start of the season, because they're in such a great position in the race for the top four and have a cup final to look forward to. And he shot us all down and said, no, you're wrong. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to play a very strong team in Barcelona. We're going to try and win that game, and then we're going to see who we've got available for Leicester on Sunday, and we're going to move forward doing exactly the same with each passing game. And I think it would be very tempting to look at that second leg against Barcelona and maybe make a few changes and play a stronger team in the Carabao Cup final, a first chance to win a trophy under his reign. But he certainly won't do that. He's going to play a very strong team against Barcelona to try and go through in the Europa League, hope that everyone comes through unscathed, and then try and pick another strong team in the Carabao Cup final. And you know, that may come back to bite him, because you've got a Newcastle side who obviously had a disappointing result this weekend against Liverpool, but have got an entirely free week to prepare for their cup final against United. And United have got a massive game against a great side on Thursday against Barcelona, you know, before they prepare for Wembley. But Ten Hag isn't looking at it like that. He's just going to try and win the game against Barcelona and then go and try and win the game against Newcastle with the strongest sides he has available.
Is that the right approach from the coach, Janusz, or is he taking a risk there?
Yeah, no, I think they're at a level that right now it doesn't matter. I mean, everything is working absolutely perfectly, right? I mean, all of a sudden, look at United team in a few months, and they're 2 or 3 deep in every position, right? Casemiro is going to come back, so that's a natural rotation. What a great leader to have against Barcelona. Obviously suspended here in the league. Sabitzer kind of walked into this and looks the par. I mean, I'm not saying he's great, but I mean, I think he's contributing nicely. You know, you have a nice rotation with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, who didn't play this game. I just have to imagine that, and Rob would know that much better, but not long ago, I mean, going to Old Trafford was a chore, wasn't it? I mean, nobody wanted to do it. You know, Ronaldo notwithstanding, right? And the whole thing around that. Now I have to imagine that tomorrow morning, once again, everybody's there, probably not hour and a half or 2 hours before, but maybe even 3 hours, because they all want to play. They all feel it. And I think, I don't know what priorities may be for them, because out of nowhere, they're contenders for the title as well, but they haven't won a trophy in a while. So I think they'll go after that. And if you eliminate Barcelona in the process, who themselves are in a good run of form, at least in La Liga, and they're at the top, I don't think it matters. There's going to be a rotation, as I've mentioned, that's natural, and everybody's going to be ready for Wembley as well. So almost really, I mean, I've been in those situations, not that at this level, but when things go your way and everybody's contributing, and it seems to me that everybody is relatively happy, and everybody's getting a chance to play, by the way, right? I mean, even Harry Maguire got a bit of a look there the other day. So I don't think it matters. It really doesn't. I think they'll play the best team for Barcelona, and he'll play some of the same players in the final, because if they do get through that, imagine the confidence levels.
What are the actual optimism levels on the red side of Manchester right now, Rob? Just overall for the team and how they're doing.
They haven't been as high as this at any point during the last 10 years since Alex Ferguson retired. There have been flashes under Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where maybe fans thought that things were heading in the right direction and possibly there was quite a bright future, but nothing like this. It's Ten Hag being in charge. It's the players firing on all cylinders. It's Ten Hag making players like Marcus Rashford better. It's also the prospect of having new owners, and the Glazer family, who they've hated for the best part of 20 years, on their way out. It's everything is combined to kind of lift the entire club at the moment, the fan base. And you even saw Ten Hag today after the game walking off down the tunnel, trying to lift the fans, pointing at the fans either side of the tunnel to try and lift them and make more noise. At the moment, everything that he touches is turning to gold. And if that carries on, United are in for a fantastic season.
Rob, I'm just going to pick out a few of the fixtures ahead in the Premier League. You've got Liverpool, Southampton, Brighton, Newcastle, Everton, Forest, Chelsea, Spurs. Is there any looking ahead like that? Are there any fixtures that they're looking at thinking, okay, there could be a little bit of a banana skin or a bump in the road there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough run of games. I think it's very interesting, though, that because of the Carabao Cup final, that United aren't going to play another league game now. So I think it's the 5th of March, that Liverpool game away at Anfield. In the meantime, it's possible that City and Arsenal may drop points. If United were then to go to Liverpool and win, all this talk about are United possibly in a title race will have to be put in the bin, because they'll be front and centre in the title race. They'll be right there, right in the mix, and fancy the chances of going and overhauling Arsenal. It's almost like they've been given, because of the Carabao Cup and the Europa League and the FA Cup, a little bit of a break in the Premier League where City and Arsenal are going to have to play. It's their job now to go through this little spell without dropping points, and then United will restart against Liverpool at Anfield. And as I say, if they were to go there and win that game, a place that they found it very, very difficult over the last few years, Ten Hag is still trying to deny that United are in the title race. Well, he won't be able to do that for much longer.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.